Spiritual healers, we need to talk. If you're guiding trauma release, somatic catharsis, or emotional processing without proper trauma training, you're not holding space, you're holding a liability. There are so many reasons why spiritual healers need to stop teaching trauma release and stop holding deep somatic spaces when they have absolutely no understanding of trauma, the nervous system, or even the ethics that are involved. It's not because they're bad people, not because they're not gifted, but because they are playing with fire and they don't even realize they're holding it. So let's break this down. You're on DeCypher The Matrix. This is a space where we're going to strip away illusions, call out spiritual confusion, and bring truth back into healing. Today we're diving into a topic that's been needed for a long time. So first off, the problem isn't spirituality, it's overreach. There are incredible spiritual practitioners out there. There are intuitives, Reiki masters, energy healers, channelers, and different somatic facilitators. There are incredible spiritual practitioners. The issue isn't their gift. The moment someone decides that because they're intuitive, they're suddenly qualified to help others heal trauma without any actual training in trauma. Trauma work requires more than intuition. It requires an understanding of disassociation, how the nervous system protects itself, how to titrate activation, and how to recognize when someone is outside their window of tolerance, what not to do so you don't re-traumatize someone. Most untrained healers don't know the difference between a release and a flooding response. They think shaking is letting go when it's actually a threat response. They think tears mean breakthrough when it often means overwhelm without integration. And the saddest part, they don't even know that they don't know. So let's talk about why this can become so dangerous. Trauma is not energy that you simply clear. It's not a chakra blockage. It's not a light activation. It's not a past life imprint you can rebalance with a tuning fork. Trauma is an adaptive survival strategy stored in the body. When untrained healers try to guide trauma release, they unintentionally flood the nervous system. They can destabilize clients emotionally. It can even open wounds they don't know how to close. They can also create dependency. This can mimic the dynamics of the original wound. In other words, it can trigger them. The client often walks away thinking, maybe I did something wrong. I guess I wasn't ready, or this is what healing is supposed to feel like. But actually, they were never supposed to be taken that deep by someone unequipped to anchor them. There's also a real problem with spiritual bypass. So here's the raw truth. A lot of trauma release ceremonies are actually spiritual bypassing in disguise. It's people trying to help others do what they themselves have not done. You cannot guide someone into the depths of the psyche if you've never been trained in what lives down there. You cannot call yourself trauma-informed because you read a book or did a weekend training or had your own awakening. Trauma-informed is a discipline. It's not a vibe. But here's what spiritual healers can do without overstepping. This episode is not about shaming spiritual healers. It's about putting people back into their lane so that healing becomes safer and more powerful. Here's what spiritual practitioners can ethically offer: grounding practices, energy balancing, intuitive guidance, meditation, emotional regulation tools, spiritual clarity and insight, somatic awareness without somatic processing, and support in between their therapy sessions. They can also offer a safe, energetic container within an appropriate depth. What they cannot ethically do without training is trauma release, childhood wound processing, somatic trauma discharge, inner child trauma repair, attachment work, memory processing, and deep nervous system rewiring. There is a huge, meaningful difference between holding space and holding trauma. One requires presence, the other requires training. Well, here's why this matters for the collective. We are in a moment where spiritual awakening is colliding with unprocessed trauma. People are hurting, people are seeking, and people are vulnerable. And when someone opens their body, their breath, their memories, or their energy field to a practitioner, that practitioner has a responsibility to know what the hell they're doing. Healers aren't dangerous. Untrained healers doing trauma work are. We need a spiritual community that collaborates, not competes. One where healers work with therapists, not instead of them. One where intuitive work supports trauma healing, not replace it. One where spiritual gifts and clinical knowledge can coexist instead of colliding. That's how we evolve. So if you're a spiritual healer listening to this now, here's your invitation. Stay in your magic and stay in your scope. Your gifts are powerful, they're needed, but they become more powerful when they're ethical, grounded, and trauma aware. And if you want to hold deeper emotional or somatic spaces, get training, get supervision, learn how trauma actually works. You can earn the right to guide people into those depths, because people deserve safety, people deserve competence, and people deserve healing, not harm wrapped in spiritual language.